This is Planet Music.
Welcome to Planet Music from the makers of Planet Marzipan.
In a streaming world, we're proud to be a podcast that celebrates the art of the album. Hello, welcome to Planet Music. I'm Mezza. I'm here with my good friends.
Craig.
And?
Mikie.
And?
Grae.
Hello, boys. How are you?
I'm good. You?
Yeah, I'm good. Craig's going to be quiet tonight, isn't he?
Fate the middling. Fate the middling.
I think we're all progged out on you who is smirking.
Well, let's just say, as you can tell from the title of the episode, folks, we are here to review Spock's Beard's fifth album, titled V or 5, whichever way you want to look at it. Full disclosure, this is Craig's pick. Oh no, sorry, no. This is my pick.
In some strange mirror universe.
Yeah.
In a universe where Spock has a beard.
Yeah.
Yes. So John, what do you actually know about this mirror episode of Star Trek then?
It inspired this lot, and that's enough for me. That's all I need to know.
Okay.
I quite like it. I think it's a good episode.
It's cracking, you know.
Yeah.
It's drying already. Look, he's trying to get onto something he likes. This is the fifth Spock's Beard album, released on the 22nd of August 2000. Craig, how old were you then?
Oh, it was just before my 28th birthday.
Jesus Christ. 20. Okay. There is a Wikipedia entry for this album. V is the fifth studio.
No, hang on a minute. He did say 28th, didn't he? He didn't say 20th. He said 28th.
Yeah,
didn't he?
28th, yes.
Thank God for that.
Yeah.
I was going to have a heart attack.
From Wikipedia, V is the fifth studio album of the progressive rock band Spock's Beard, released on August the 22nd, 2000. The release of V also produced a CD single, this time promoting the track All on a Sunday. The track itself was re-recorded in 2001 and is slightly different from the album. Also on the single is an unreleased song called The Truth and the music video for All on a Sunday. This album is available in a limited edition as well, which contains a 32-page booklet that includes interviews with the band and a personal fact sheet on each of the band members, as well as a multimedia track showing the band in the studio. I'm going to ask a question, but I know the answer for Mikie and Craig. Grae, were you aware of Spock's Beard at this time?
So it was the album before this that I became aware of Spock's Beard, and I wasn't sure. And then this came out.
So Day for Night, you'd heard.
Yeah, Day for
Right.
Night, heard. Yeah.
I'd seen them on Day for Night tour in Rotherham at the Classic Rock Society, and they absolutely blew me away. I mean, Classic Rock Society had a sort of a thing where you would pay a nominal amount, like £1 or £2,
Yeah.
and you could get CDs on loan. And if you liked them, you paid the balance of the CD, and if you didn't, you just sent it back. And I got Kindness of Strangers, and I got Big. I'm sure it was Barred by Big Train, and I kept the Spock's album, and I sent the Big Train back.
Really?
Yeah, because I didn't get it. But I mean, I was absolutely blown away seeing them live. But I think, we've got friends who are into prog who love this lot, and we've got friends who really don't like this lot. I think Neil Morse divides people. You either get it or you don't get it.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting. So particularly his solo stuff, very much so. It's less in your face, a lot of it.
Well, I deliberately picked this because the other choice would have been Snow, which is a double for a start off, but it's also where his faith starts to come through. Yeah. There are touches of the lyrics in this that kind of indicate what's coming next, but it's not overtly religious to me, this record, and
No.
I don't know whether anybody else has sensed that.
I don't think it's overtly. I
didn't.
think
And
I think if you know your religion, I think it's apparent. I think you
right,
can hear things that are talked about in it, and you go, "All right, okay." But then, Snow was a completely different kettle of fish.
Snow's a brilliant record.
Oh,
You know,
I mean, it's amazing, and I think it's really interesting because at this time, I was probably far more religious than I am now. Still, so it didn't really bother me. Now, I mean, we were talking earlier on today about the Neil Moore stuff, and because we've been listening to this, I've gone back to a lot of the prog I used to listen to. I still struggle with a lot of the Neil Morse band stuff, and it's purely the lyrical content.
well, I don't. For some reason, I can filter it out. I have stood at a gig singing a song called Jesus Blood at the top of my voice. And I'm not religious at all, you know.
But that
but
proves
I
just
think-
how good the music is, though.
I think he's
so
writes
good.
some incredible melodies, but we'll come on to that. If you look for this album on Apple Music, it's listed as an EP because there aren't many tracks on it. There are only 6, but it's 63 minutes long, so it's not an EP by any stretch.
But it's also not on Spotify and it's not on Amazon Music either.
Is it not?
No.
Okay.
So if you want to dig it out on the streamers, you're gonna have a bit of trouble.
Well, Neil has from time to time put stuff on, but he has his own streaming service called Waterfall, which you kind of pay to, you pay him, but all his music is on there. So all the Spocks and everything else is on there. So there are ways to do it, but you kind of have to get in and sort of do them all, really. Oh yeah, it's only, well, in fact, it's only second and third era Spock's Beard on Spotify. So Nick DiVigilio fronted albums are on there and a couple of Ted albums, but no
But
Neil
none
Moore.
of the Neil Moore stuff.
Although weirdly, the first 20 years compilation is on there, which has both on it. But yeah, okay. I just to be fair to you, I mean, we're going to go through it track by track. Craig, what's your overall view of this? Because you're not coming from a prog angle at this, are you? So
I'm not coming from a prog angle. I mean, I know we've had discussions of Spock's Beard over the past 25 years plus, where you've always been a big fan of it, and so I've been aware of them through your fandom and through a lot of like the Marillion fans kind of love of it, because this is where talk about something like Steve Hogarth's podcast, the Corona Diaries. I mean, him and Ant just had a big conversation, which was a bit controversial, over Rush the other week. And Ant is coming from a seriously non-prog background. And, H is talking about his appreciation of the musicianship, but not enjoying the material. And this is almost a kind of similar kind of thing with me, where I'm not prog. I mean,
No.
there's some prog stuff that I enjoy, but I'm a bit more singer-songwriter.
yeah.
And stuff that we on. So, you're expecting us to do the whole, it's not my kind of thing, but it's some
I
of
think
it.
you will say that at some
Yeah,
point.
yes, I'll definitely say. I'll definitely say that. But there are some really nice pieces on this.
Yeah.
And it's the one thing I would say is listening to it, I wasn't hugely surprised in what I was hearing.
No. Okay. Well,
But I'm not saying that as a bad thing.
On
Yeah,
that.
I'm not saying that as a bad thing, but it didn't hugely surprise me.
Okay. And then, Mikey, you weren't aware of this until we first talked about it, were you?
Absolutely not. I mean, again, I'd heard the name mentioned plenty at Marillion gigs, and but I'd always had an aversion to prog, only because I'd probably heard the worst of it, not the best of it. And you've opened my ears to quite a bit over the last few months.
Okay.
Some prog adjacent stuff.
Yeah.
And I first listened to this album before Christmas, and I was pleasantly surprised. Again, I wasn't really shocked by a lot of it. Not shocked, surprised in the same way that Grae wasn't. But I've enjoyed more than I thought I would.
Okay.
And I mean, this week alone, I've played it 3 times, and that's not just because I have to do it for homework.
Mhm.
I could have done it once and wrote my notes and walked away. I was quite happily going back to it and, revisiting certain parts of it more than others.
Yeah.
It's definitely more accessible than I thought it would be,
Okay.
even given the 2 epics either side.
It's more accessible than something like Transatlantic.
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, it is and it isn't. I mean, we're going to talk about this when we get to the tracks, but one of Neil's motifs is to have a recurring musical motif that sort of comes up, and certainly that's the case at the end of the day, which is the first track. Less so on the Great Nothing, which I'd never really realised today. The Great Nothing at the end, which is a 27-minute epic, is more songs bolted together.
Yeah.
And I think probably Craig better for that for you, but we'll come on to that.
I was just going to say though, I mean, Mikey, the first time we talked about doing this was a few months ago. And did you not listen to the Archaeoptimist as well at the time and thought, actually, there's bits of that you liked?
I did. But obviously, I wasn't really aware of Spock's Beard's history, wasn't aware about the lineup changes. And it wasn't until I re-listened to this, I was like, hang on a minute, this is a different singer.
Yeah.
And I actually really, really like the Archaeoptimist. I think it's a really good album. But when I started replaying V or 5, I was like, hang on, something's not quite. Then obviously asked you guys a question, had to go back and have a bit dig. I mean, I wouldn't say it's chalk and cheese. I don't think it's as seismic as Fish into Steve Hogarth territory, but it's a noticeable change. It's, I think it's fundamentally the same band, but different.
I think Ted's got the current singer, Ted Leonard's got more of a sort of straight ahead rock type of voice.
Harder. Yeah.
Whereas Neil wrote these songs. Ted does write some of the stuff. I don't think he's done. I think the Archaeoptimist is all Rio, but we'll talk about that a bit. Okay, so that's kind of the different angles that we're coming at this album from. As I say, there are only 6 tracks, but that's because one track is 16.5 minutes and another track is 27 minutes. Oh, the album starts with track 1, which is At the End of the Day. It's 16 minutes, 28 seconds. And I said I wouldn't do this to him, but I'm going to do it, folks. I'm going to come to Craig first.
You bastard. Yeah, so at the end of the day, it's, when I saw it was 16 minutes, I was thinking, oh, here we go. Is a nice way to ease yourself in with it. The overall thought of the song was it's quite as expected, modern prog. Yeah, modern prog. So, start off nice, moody. 5 minutes in, and this is the thing where Mikey put a post up, but it was my first thing on my notes. 5 minutes in, it goes all Queen innuendo with the acoustic guitars and bongos and all that kind of stuff. And then at the 60s keyboards that I put a note on saying that sounds like an ITC low grade TV theme for a minute. The thing I don't like about a lot of prog stuff is 5 minutes or so, 6 minutes into a 15 or 16-minute song, you've gone through so many different musical choices, musical motifs and that. And I'm like, whoa, that's
what it is, Craig. That's why it's prog and not singer-songwriter.
I know, but it's like, because I like a little bit more time to listen to a theme and listen to a melody, listen to whatever before it changes on. So for something like this, I would be happier if it was longer and they spent a bit more time with the musical motifs rather than chopping and changing.
But this of all the songs on the album, this has a recurring musical.
Oh yes, it does, yeah. And it seems to be more like power chords that it comes back to, and like a lot of like 70s DAW style keyboards. I mean, there's a lot of really nice pieces to this and some nice motifs to it. And for me, I just find it a little bit exhausting because you're going through so much music. Yeah, you've got so much music crammed into 16 minutes, and it doesn't feel like it gives it time to breathe. And I think some of the we had a conversation not that long ago about Marillion's This Strange Engine, where the transitions are a bit too stark. And
Well,
I,
they're way
I
better on
find,
this for me. They don't
oh yeah, I
they're
get
not
that,
noticeable.
but to me, I think they are noticeable.
No.
And I think by the end of it, 11 minutes in, it's like mad as a box of frogs. Some of his vocals, he's got a couple of different vocal styles, and there's one style that he does which really turns us off. And it's the vocal style he uses in different songs, but especially on All on a Sunday, which is almost like a skater dude kind of LA kind of sounding. But I actually quite enjoyed the song, so I'm not going to slag it off.
Okay. Mikey, what do you think of At the End of the Day?
I actually really enjoyed it. And I think I have to say as well, I don't think the transitions of this are as bad as what Greg's made out. I've definitely heard worse. Um, and it's, I think the thing I will take from Craig is I agree with his, it could have been a bit longer. I think there's certain sections could have just been given a bit more room to breathe. Having said that, I actually feel that the last section of the album, the last song, if you like, the
Great
27-minute
Nothing,
epic,
yeah.
feels shorter than this does.
Because
To
it's
me,
because it's
because I find it
songs,
like
it's
hard.
more
Yeah,
song based.
yeah. I just think this doesn't flow quite as well, but the callbacks are better. But that's
Well,
that's
the callbacks aren't there as much in The Great Nothing at all. To be
yeah,
honest with you.
but it doesn't need it. Yeah. But anyway, that's the broad strokes. I love the strings at the beginning. I think they're absolutely wonderful.
Well,
It's
English
it's-
horn. It starts with
yeah.
English horn.
Is that what it is?
It is.
Before the strings, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say
As opposed
because
to a French horn.
Yeah, well, which is on there, but English horn played by Kathy Ann Lloyd.
well, I was going to say it gives it quite a Gaelic feel to it, which I really enjoyed.
It's a
I
bit
think it's
baroque, isn't it?
yeah. I think it's when it gets going, it's got quite an uplifting feeling. Um, I wouldn't say euphoric, but there's like a joyousness behind the music, if that's the right way to put it across. It's definitely uplifting anyway. And I love the fact that it's quite drum led near the start as well. And you've got changing and quite complex rhythms going on. Drum work for me was something that I honed in quite a lot through this album. I thought was really good.
Nick DiVirgilio's an amazing drummer.
Absolutely
He's an
amazing
drummer, yeah.
The vocal harmonies in this track are off the charts. Kind of reminded me of early Yes. If you kind of go to the 1980 album Drama, there's a lot of sort of like late harmonies going on in that, and that kind of reminded me of that. At the 4 minutes point, you've got a really massive slowdown in tempo, and I think you've got a mellotron going on in there as well. And as Craig mentioned, the flamenco guitars come in at about the 5 minute mark.
They do, yeah. That's a Mexican acoustic section, yeah.
And after that, you've got the horns that come back in, which are cool as anything. Actually, no, the horns come in just before the concrete jungle section. I think that's really, really good. One of my favorite lyrics in the entire album's actually in this song, which at 9 minutes 45, it's the You've Been Schooled section, which says, there is no hand waiting that must be paid. We will leave our encores all unplayed, which I thought was really cool. Craig also mentioned the absolutely bonkers keyboard solo at the 11 minutes mark, which I'm not going to interior Lulu it, but it's not bloody far off. There's a musical interlude though at the 13-minute mark, which I will say is absolutely awesome. It's like the entire band
it's
kicking
harmonies,
in,
isn't
the
it? Yeah,
audio
yeah,
thing,
yeah,
and the
yeah.
guitar is absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Really top-notch stuff. And one of the highlights for me, and it sounds really lame to say it, but it's right at the end of the song because there's a piano key flourish, and it's nothing in the grand scheme of things, but it's beautiful. It's only about 7 or 8 notes, but it is really, really nice. And after all that heavy slog prog, it's a really nice soft payoff, and I really like it.
Is that the bit where he says, "And at the end of the day"?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
It's going to be all right.
yeah.
it'll be all right.
Yeah. Okay. Great. What do you make of it?
So everything that they've said in a positive spin.
Gray's got no notes, folks.
I don't need notes for this. I seriously. So you talk about the flamenco guitar. You talk about. So for me, the keyboards in this are just utterly superb. And you talk about like the Mellotron type stuff, but the hard rock thing.
Was
the
the
hard
Hammond?
rock,
The Hammond.
It's a Hammond. It was going to say the hard thing is a Hammond, and it is John Lord over the back. The way it's done is early prog style, Deep Purple keyboard solos. It's really, really strong. It's really powerful, and it is utterly brilliant. Then I think it's about 10:38, 10:40, you've got that really heavily fuzz distorted guitar that comes in for the riff.
Yeah.
Everything. So you and I talked about this while we were doing our homework, John. I'd forgotten just how much I like old-fashioned prog because I've not listened to it for ages. I've been really kind of lax with all the new stuff coming out and all bits and bobs. I've been listening to things, and I find it hard to pay attention to the stuff that actually made me fall in love with music in the first place. And the thing I loved about prog was all the neoclassical stuff. So you think about your early your early Genesis, all that kind of stuff, like things like madrigals and all that. You know, it was really intricate, really intelligent, well-formed, complex music, and this does it in spades. It really does. And it's the bits which you talk about. The motif doesn't always come back on the same instrument. It's where you hear, you've got the chords, you've got the guitar, but there's also that. It's almost like don't think it's quite a cappella. I think there's a keyboard piece underneath it where they've got all the voices doing that harmony bit in the notes of the motif for the song.
Yeah,
and it is just. Mikie used the right word, uplifting. It is utterly glorious.
There's a point in the middle of this, about the 9-minute mark, which really is the most uplifting part of the song for me.
Yes, just before the guitar kicks in.
It begins, it believes and sees for all times.
Yeah,
it's coming down my way.
Section. It is about the 9.5-minute section.
As it breathes and it sees for the blind, she's holding me finally. Then there's a guitar solo after that. It's just
it's just
brilliant.
Unbelievable. And then it does that, and it builds. It takes you down to the acoustic bit. It builds you back up again. You've got the keyboards coming in. You've got the vocal breaks. You've got all this kind of stuff. And then, like Mikie says, there's that little piano piece and the quiet voice at the end. As at the end of the day, it'll be all right. And it's like, and now I'm spent. Thank you very much. That was the song. Hope you enjoy. And it is just what a start to. I mean, like, it feels long, but not overly long. It feels like a complex structure. It feels like it's all one big gelled piece compared to the final track. And it's everything I like about prog. Everything I like about prog. It's why I like Transatlantic and all that kind of stuff as well. You know what I mean?
Cool. Okay. I love this track. It's the best track on the record for me. It's probably, after revisiting the album today, my favourite Neil era Spock's Beard track. It's everything I love about him. It's all the things you've just said. The sort of Baroque intro with the English horn and just the orchestral instruments on this record has broadened their sound from what they were before. They've never really had that before, and it kind of takes it off and gives it different colours. I mean, 1 minute in, you've got just Dave Meros' Rickenbacker and Nick DiVigilio's drums driving this walking beat. We're off. You're off on this journey. It's absolutely amazing. The musical theme comes in after that. The chorus at the end of the day, you'll be lying in a suit of grey. Wow, great line, fantastic. And later on in the chorus is tweaked, and it's what you do, not what you say, is the payoff line. It's some really, really nice lyrics. As you guys have said, there's the acoustic section at 5 minutes in, and then it breaks down again to a bass and drums, and a jazzy piano riff comes in. There's a lot of sort of jazz chops on here.
Huge jazz chops on it, and I think that's what makes it exciting for me, because I don't like jazz per se, but I love the musicianship of it, and when it's put into this format, I really enjoy it.
It's not, for me, it's not like Dream Theater sort of technical wankery for the sake of technical wankery.
Yeah, it's musical.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I totally get it.
There's a Lightning Calls You section about 8.5 minutes in, which is brilliant, and I love the line. This kind of alludes to what's coming in the future for Neil, but the feel your heart like a window open slow, say goodbye to the world that you know at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That seems to be indicating where he's going, really. The harmonies, they're inspired by Gentle Giant, and you can kind of hear that in the harmonies that are on this record. I know the band were all fans of it, but I thought Craig wouldn't like the crunchy guitar. I thought he would call it Aka Aka, but
there's a bit of that. I mean, there's a bit of that on the next track as well.
There is,
We've got the transitions, but we'll talk to them about that in a minute.
But yeah, this would have been a great closer. I think you could put this at the end of a record because of the finish of it, but it's got that really emotional high in the middle for me. And live, it's a phenomenal song. It's a phenomenal song live. But if this were the only track on the album, I'd be happy. This would be worth my entrance fee alone for me. This. Track 2 is called Revelation. Craig.
I really like the dreamy opening on this song.
Yeah, it's like psychedelic, isn't it?
Yeah, and just what we're talking about there, about where I don't like the aka aka guitars. I think this suffers that.
There isn't much dreamy before aka aka comes in, is there?
No, but thing is, it's one of those typical, not say typical prog songs, but like a song which does the loud quiet, loud quiet, loud quiet. Transitions are quite stark to it. I love the quiet aspects of this song.
The verses are quiet and the choruses are heavy.
Yeah. And I prefer the quieter parts to this. And I think it's not as musically interesting as the first song, but I think if they'd put a bit more in, I think this hasn't got enough in for me compared to the first song. So I think if they developed if they took some of the musical parts out of the first song and put it in the second song and just made it a bit more interesting. But yeah, I mean, I think it could have been a better track, but again, I don't dislike it. I don't dislike. I'm not, I'm far from going to crap on it, because I think what I would say I would like about this album is just something that you touched on talking about the previous track. It's not full of musical wankery just for the sake of musical wankery. I think for me, they could have taken a bit more time to develop, again, the musical themes on things. But no,
I think they kept these middle tracks deliberately shorter because of the 2 long songs that bookend the album. Yeah. Okay. Mikey, what do you make of Revelation?
I'm going to turn this completely on its head and say this is my favorite track on the entire album.
Okay, wow, okay.
I think it's fucking awesome. And I think that light and dark shift between the verse and the chorus is what makes it for me. I agree with Craig that, I've got mellow and spacey. So not quite dreamy, but I've got mellow and spacey. And I like the jazz feel to the organ work as well in the verses. Absolutely sublime. And as much as there is some heavier moments, as Craig would put it, aka aka guitars. You've got this really slow driving drum beat behind it. It's not like it's all guns blazing. You've got really fast moving guitars, but you've got slow drum work. And it gives it this almost like a dredging feeling, like you're being pulled through the chorus. It's absolutely outstanding work. It's brilliant. I get massive Wings vibes in parts with this.
Okay. It's a massive, big, dirty riff is the chorus, though, isn't it? It's such a dirty
I
riff.
think that's where I got that from. And there is the shortest guitar solo in history at the 4-minute mark. And I think it's literally only about 15 seconds at best.
Yeah.
It makes this song. It is fucking out of this world. And then you're just straight back into the main song again. And the outro is dark, it's moody, and I get all of the payoff I want with it out of a 6-minute song.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Absolutely top notch. Can't rate it high enough.
Cool. Well, this track is written by 4 of the band members as well, so it's the only sort of track on the album that is.
Yeah,
Grae,
it's not a Neil song.
No, he's on it. He's co-writer.
Neil?
Yeah.
I didn't think you. Oh yeah, no, he is. Sorry, yeah.
There's only Dave Mayros that isn't a co-writer.
Yeah. I love it, and I think it's the light and shade piece. It's a lesson in restraint. We all know that they can whittle. We know that they can play whatever they want to do, but we also you hear. So at the end of the day, there's parts of it where you can hear them riff out, but they don't do what, for instance, Stephen Wilson's really good at doing. So if you think back to Porcupine Tree, they'll play a riff that actually blows your socks off. Play it once in a track and never play it again, never come back to it. Neil, when he writes his own stuff, has those. He comes back to good parts. He comes back and plays them again. It's here's your verse, here's your chorus. We're going to do that. Oh, and by the way, you're going to get a guitar solo. It's going to be searing, but it's going to be as long as it needs to be.
Well, I seem to recall that Neil kind of comes back in and sings over the end of it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's brilliant, and it's really weird because by the title, I would have thought it would have been an overtly religious song. I thought it was like the stuff, but it's not. It's not there at all. And I think the darkness of it, because at the end of the day, it's quite. It's that uplifting, that joyous experience, and what have you. The darkness of this is that it's a really good counterpoint to it. Really enjoyable, and I think you can tell that Nick and Rio had input into the writing, very much so. Particularly Nick DiVirgilio.
Yeah. That long, slow, dirty groove is just brilliant. I'm surprised Dave's not credited as a co-writer on that, but yeah. There was a DVD. There was a VHS. There's a DVD which is the making of V.
Right, okay.
It has a section where they show potential album titles. I think Revelation was potentially going to be one of the things they considered to be.
It's a strong song.
Track. It's great. It's great, and I think I might be misremembering this. I think they called it the Soundgarden song because they felt sounded a bit like. I don't get that myself, but
I get it with the chorus.
Yeah. I think it's good. I'm still harking back to the previous track, if I'm honest. I love the dirtiness of the riff and the chorus, but it's a bit of lighter relief, even though it's quite heavy for me. But yeah, great because it's the other 3 guys that are on there writing it with Neil. The next track, Craig, is Thoughts Part 2.
Now, when I said like Thoughts Part 2, I was like, okay, Part 2. So where's the other part? So I did a little bit of reading.
Part 1 is on Beware of Darkness.
Yes.
And then there's a Part 3 and there's a Part 4 or something as well.
No,
So
there's a Part 5 and there's an Afterthoughts. Part 5 is on Neil Morse's Momentum solo album, and Afterthoughts is on an album quite a way away from here, Brief Nocturnes and Dreamless Sleep, which has got Ted Leonard singing on it. So although they claim that they're connected, they're not really.
Yeah. I mean, I had a nice acoustic start to it, but then the lyrics actually made me laugh from the first listen. Says, was it might be really great to show you how I feel inside. Then maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, that's the sort of humor that Spocks have, though.
Yeah, yeah. But they changed it to there's a big, massive bass and guitar riff in it.
Yeah.
But what I mentioned earlier on that I don't like on some of the styles, he uses these kind of skater dude vocals on this, and I mean, I think
Are
the
you talking about the bits like maybe not and what's the point? Is that the
yeah,
bits
because
you're
it's
talking
the kind of singing voice that he uses on All on a Sunday as well. It's just that way that he
I
sings. I'm
think
not
all on
like
a Sunday he sings it in a slightly lower register. I
yeah,
do get you. I do get that. I think I enjoy the songs where he's singing a bit higher
yes, yeah,
keys.
But
but it's
is it
that
not? Is it not the bits where he's singing a character?
Yeah, it is. Then
It's
yeah,
the bits where he's
he's
singing a
acting.
character.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, he's acting rather than
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I'm not a great and not a great fan for that, but I think the vocals in this, like the a cappella stuff, that's all quite fun. It's quite interesting, and yeah, it's a. But when you expected me to be going, oh, it's not for me, and this track's pretty much a not for me one.
Okay, Mikey.
I have to say this was the one I struggled with the most as well.
Really? Okay.
I've tried, and that was the reason why I asked you, John, last week, where the other parts to thoughts were
Yeah.
were they connected, blah blah blah. I actually think the song Afterthought is really good. That being said, um, again, this is the thing with a prog album. You're listening to acoustic guitar at the start, and I'm thinking, oh, a nice acoustic guitar track. That's what we need now. This is a prog album. You've got this for a minute at the very best, and then it's going to go off on a tangent, which obviously it does. And I feel that the transition from acoustic to eclectic is too much for me in this track. That being said, the orchestral transitions where they are fucking awesome. The string work, the horns, all of that stuff that goes on as transitional points is genius. Absolute genius. I'm totally on board with Craig 100% about the harmonies. Harkens back to very early day Queen work for me. And the drumming again on this track is top notch.
Okay.
I've got very little else to say about it because
That's fine. We'll move
it's
on.
one of the tracks I found hardest to
We'll
jump on,
move on
but
then.
it's not awful.
I'll talk to somebody who I think likes it. Grae.
This is close to being my favourite song on the album. It is everything that they've said that they're not sure about. I absolutely fucking love.
Yeah.
The interplay between the guitars and the keyboard is stunning. The counterpoint on the vocal, where they do the vocal breaks and they do like the a cappella stuff, and you've got one, and they're singing around each other with those harmonies and stuff. Yeah. And then, was it 1 minute 40? Is it the second verse where they finish with that really kind of atonal? They all split to a note that's completely unrelated to what everybody else is. Just that one thing, and then they go back in again, and it's like, how do you write that stuff? I mean, how do you write that stuff?
I don't know. It's so complex, isn't it?
And then you've got, we're talking about, they don't do the, I mean, Rose calls it musical wanking. Craig and I have talked about like the wankery and what have you. There's loads of soloing in here, and there's guitars playing off keyboard, but it's not
the bass wig out where Dave Miros goes off. It's brilliant.
It's not superfluous.
I think. Well, no, I think that's getting into that area for me. It's
close.
Not because I love it's such an off the wall song. The whole thing, I thought I'd come to you and say all the things I had on my mind. I thought it might be really great to show you how I feel inside. Then I think maybe not.
Maybe not. Bang.
Ooh,
and I think, but it's also for This is condensed prog. This is distilled prog because
Yeah.
it's. I mean, how long is it? What, 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes, and yet
4.5,
you've
yeah,
still
yeah.
and yet you've still got the vocal breaks, the instrumental breaks, the wig outs. You've got all the bits and bobs. But I think the reason it works so well is it's not a 7-minute keyboard solo over a guitar riff that changes twice. It is. You've got the guitar solo, you've got the keyboard wig out, you've got the bass playing, but it's all done in 4.5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's brilliant, utterly brilliant. It's mad as a box of frogs, but
I
utterly
think,
brilliant.
but it's a complex song, but it's actually quite a meaningful lyric about insecurity, isn't it?
And it's a banger. It's a bop along song as well. It's like although it's really complex, you can groove to it.
Yeah. You know, I love you so much. I want to tell you what I think, but maybe I don't want to tell you what I think, because if you knew what was going on in this, you'd be running a mile. You know, it's basically the point of the song, isn't it?
Yeah.
Again, this is typical Spock's. This is their quirkiness coming through. This is their multi-layered vocals. In such a short song, as Grae says, this is brilliant. Really, really good. I can't find anything else to say. I mean, for all the reasons that Mikie and Craig struggle with this, they're all the reasons I love it.
Yeah. We've just been contrary for the sake of it.
No, but that's the point of this podcast, is that we've all got these different things that appeal to us, haven't we? You know,
Yeah.
We all have different boats that get floated.
we do. It's not a Kathleen Edwards track, is it?
Oh no.
Anyway, on to the hit single. Not All on a Sunday. Craig.
Yeah, I wish I loved this, but I don't. The vocal style really puts us off it. I'm not that keen on the keyboards of it, but I think as a song, it's a good pop prog song. The video's entertaining and everything like that. It's all. It is a very, very accessible track, so I can understand why it was picked for a single. But it doesn't really fit that well on the album as a piece. I think it stands out a bit differently, but it's okay.
Okay, Mikie.
Yeah, I think Marillion did something very similar around about the same year, actually, because there was that Between You and Me Map of the World thing going on, and I think it's very much a prog element trying to just reach out and dip the toes into other territories, and why the hell not? But I think they do this really well. I was playing this before, and somebody who was in the same room as me said it sounds like an American version of the Wonder Stuff.
Yeah, can hear that.
Yeah. I personally love the organ work on this. It's very Procol Harum to me, who I think are fucking awesome anyway. The vocal effects at the start, I think, show you that this isn't just a straightforward pop song. You know, it's obviously got quite strong prog leanings without it getting too commercialized, if that makes sense. It does stand out on the album because of what surrounds it, but I think I wouldn't say it's a palate cleanser. I just think it's a nice breathing space to have something lighter in tone and mood. The transition variations aren't as, choppy changey as the rest of the album. It's, again, the song structure's still not quite standard pop or standard rock. It's fluid, but yeah, I don't dislike it. I think it's needed on the album, but it's not a standout moment for me either.
Yeah, Grae.
I think it's brilliant, but I think to me it's another facet of what Spock's Beard do, because they are so much more than just the long. For all I love the long sort of traditional prog stuff, if you listen to things that other people in the band, so stuff that Nick's done, stuff that Neil's done, and what have you, there's all these other stuff and all these other influences that they play. If you know some of the Beatles influences, I mean, you mentioned Procol Harum,
I mean,
Mikie.
Neil's a
Yeah.
huge Beatles fan, yeah.
And I think so. Some of this reminded me of another prog band that has a lot of sort of that 60s-ish leanings is Unitopia.
Yeah.
I can hear that in this. And again, I don't think it's quite as good as Thoughts Part 2 in as much as condensing the music. I love the song. I think it's a far simpler attempt at condensing prog. And for me, it just kind of it's less impactful because of that, but it's still brilliant. And I think if you took this and put it next to something like the Flying Colours albums, where Neil's there with, which is that kind of let's take prog but make it pop rock or slightly more palatable rock, that would work there. It's kind of veering away from the really proggy stuff, but it fits as if you know more Spock's Beard, it fits as a Spock's Beard track for me.
Yeah, this could have come off Day for Night. You know, it's
Yes.
that sort of.
Yeah.
To me, it's kind of there. I liken it to sort of the Monkeys for me. It's that sort of a throwaway, light-hearted song. But,
Yeah.
I mean, this is what Neil was doing before he got into prog. He was trying to make it as a standard singer-songwriter.
Yeah, because they met Nick at a blues jam night and stuff as well. It was all it was like it wasn't nothing to do with prog initially.
No, I think this is great. It's it was slightly re-recorded for a single, but they kind of chopped the beginning off. That's the gist of the single mix. But it's nice. It's, you know, if you think about what's come before, it's probably needed. This and the next track are a bit of respite before the Great Nothing, which, you know, hits you straight in the face. But I think All on a Sunday's great. It's throwaway, but it's better for it. The penultimate track, Craig, is Goodbye to Yesterday.
There is again, like as a couple of the tracks, it's got a lovely acoustic opening, and it almost, to me, at the beginning has a bit of a Porcupine Tree Stephen Wilson vibe to it. So obviously this is when Porcupine Tree were pretty much in the Light Bulb Sun Stupid Dream kind of time period, weren't they? Yeah. Anyway, so I was listening to it, you know, thinking, okay, it sounds absolutely gorgeous to begin with. So we're getting a minute and a bit in. So, you know, we're due a transition, we're due a change. And I was prepping myself, and it just stayed gorgeous. I was like, ooh,
It's a ballad.
yeah. I was like, ooh, I like this. I really like this. I was waiting for some like ridiculous like prog chord or something like that to happen. It didn't. It's just lovely. The musicianship, the vibe, everything. It's a beautiful song. They say definitely more like a traditional track, right? Say like that. But I think it's absolutely lovely, gorgeous, and you know, me being a boring old fart, it's my favorite song on the album.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. It's a beautiful song, yeah.
It's
Mikie.
gorgeous.
Well, I'm going to be a boring old fart too and say this is my second favorite track on the album.
Okay.
Pretty much what Craig said. That acoustic guitar work is absolutely sublime, and the fact that it stays with you so long, and it's needed, like you said, John. The try to find a way parts kind of remind me a bit of Macca again. I think there's definitely McCartney leanings there. And it's also got one of my other favorite lines from the album, which is, do you have your baggage or do your bags have you?
I knew you. I'm looking at the lyrics now. I knew you were going to say that.
It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Again, really sublime vocal harmonies. And like Craig said, the drum work, the bass work, it is tight.
The fretless bass on this is
Absolutely
wonderful. It really
tight.
is.
It is awesome. But the thing that I love the most about this, running through all this work, is the textured layers that the keyboards give. They're not
Is it not
in
electric
your
piano on this?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's just layers and layers of sound. Absolutely top-notch stuff. So, yeah, this definitely second favorite track on the album.
Okay.
Love it.
We must mention, because I don't think we've said it, Ryo Okamoto is the keyboard player on this album. Ryo is rock. Grae, say goodbye to yesterday. What do you make of it?
It's absolutely gorgeous. The arrangement on it is deceivingly simple. If you listen to what Nick does with the percussion and the drums,
Yeah.
he's playing really, really complex.
It's a strange rhythm, isn't it?
But it's not.
It
Yeah,
doesn't feel
is.
wrong.
It doesn't feel complex. No. It doesn't feel as if he's overplaying. But if you pay attention to it, there is a lot going on. And then you've got that gorgeous fretless bass over it. Absolutely stunning. And it's weird because normally I don't like where people, I always kind of call it space fillers when people think, I can't think of the right words to say, so I'm going to use one word and hang it over the first line of the chorus and then finish off the sentence quickly. But the way that Neil does it with this, that you're playing try, and then he hangs it on, and is absolutely stunning. The chorus is just, it's heart melting. It really is. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, John, but I think this is about, so he was already turning to Christianity, wasn't he? At this point,
so, yeah.
This is, to me, is almost autobiographical. It's like,
in his diaries, he was on tour with the Eric Bird, playing in the Eric Burden band, and he had some sort of epiphany. And I think from there he started to look further into the faith, and we know, but the next album is the last Spock's album with that lineup, and they completed the double album, and then Neil left before they could tour it. But
and I just think if you read the lyrics with that understanding, it has there's a really religious connotation to it, but it could be taken as like getting out of a relationship, I suppose. But it is
I think so. Yeah,
I think it's fantastic. They're not overtly religious.
No.
But the song is sublime. It really is, and I think the delivery of it, because it's just so restrained, like Craig was saying, where you think, oh, here we go, nice soft start. Where's it going to go next? But it doesn't. You just drift along with this absolutely gorgeous arrangement and lovely lyrics, so well delivered, in a voice that Craig probably likes rather than thinks. Nah.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's singing it
properly.
Singing it proper. Yeah.
Well, for you, yeah. I mean, everything that you've said, it's a lovely song, and it's got an amazing understated guitar solo from Alan Morse in it as well. But yeah, it's the multi-layered vocals are back, and it's a dreamy song, and it's clearing the air for what's coming next, really, isn't it? Let's be honest, because what follows this is completely different. I think the middle section of the album, sort of from Revelation through to this, are the other side of Spock's. They're the other side that isn't in the big epics with all the kitchen sink. Although, having said that, and I've already said this about The Great Nothing, which is coming next, that feels to me more like songs latched onto each other. But yeah, Goodbye to Yesterday's fantastic. It really is. Craig, the final track on the album is 27 minutes. 27 minutes, 1 second. And I want you to sum up The Great Nothing for me.
The funny thing is my first note on it was when I started it. Was it when I said it was a 27 minutes long? I put FML. But that's not really how I feel about it. I think I did have a big trepidation when this track started, because I thought, oh, here we go. I've enjoyed quite a bit of this, and the first track, is quite a bit like Mad as a Box of Frogs. This is going to be mad as a container-sized box of frogs.
Yeah.
And it is to a degree. Don't get us wrong, it is to a degree. But I think what we've been keep saying about it, it does seem like it's a collection of a few songs strung together
Yeah.
with a musical theme.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like most of the songs, it starts with a lovely acoustic bit, goes
Well, it
into like
doesn't.
bass
No,
with
it doesn't. It starts with
oh yeah, what's this? Monk style chant harmony into again nice acoustic guitar.
I was gonna
So,
say, yeah. The first thing you hear is just
oh yeah. It's like, oh yeah, bass with rocky guitar chords, synth strings into a 70s keyboard riff, nice vocals and turns into a good rock prog standard. And you're not even 8 minutes in. A big change again. And what I'm going to mention, which Mikey's probably I would imagine made a note of, the Mark Kelly style of interior Lulu keyboard crazy bit, which is about 10 minutes or so in. It lasts a bit longer than that.
Well, there are actually 6
yeah.
sections to this song, and
Yeah.
they're indicated in the lyric book as well. So the
Yeah.
intro is From Nowhere.
Yeah. And it is interesting throughout because you've got these motifs, you've got this stuff going, you've even got a bit of a keyboard v guitar battle about 13 minutes in. And, the last 10 minutes has got there's quite a lot of Mark Kelly style widdly widdly 80s keyboards throughout later on. And I enjoyed it, but I was exhausted by it.
You will be, yeah. No, it's quite a long record, and it's a long track to finish it. Yeah,
it's a long track, and it takes it's something that you can't really digest on a couple of listens, because it's got so much going on, and I think as opposed to the first track, this track does let the motifs breathe a bit more.
Okay.
But yeah, I think as an album ender, it's epic. Is it something that I'm going to revisit a lot? I don't know. Some of the songs definitely, but investing a lot of time in some hardcore stuff like this, I think I'll need a couple of drinks before.
Yeah,
but
Mikey.
I think overall I've enjoyed it.
Cool. Thank you for listening to it, Mikey.
Right.
Here we go.
We'll get comfy.
Section 1 From Nowhere. Totally agree with Craig. You've got that foreboding cinematic instrumental opener, goes into really intricate acoustic guitar. I love the fact that the track builds with each member of the band being introduced, and you get them to hear what they're bringing into the song, which takes you to One Note, which is a much quieter passage after that big bombastic entrance, which is mostly piano work, but it's got wonderful, I think it's fretless bass again, just going
got
on.
That, like funky break in the middle of it, around about the 8-minute mark, hasn't it?
Yeah.
One note timeless, brilliant. And it all gets a bit.
What's the third part called? Come Up.
The third part is Come Up Breathing.
Come Up Breathing. That was where I wrote Simon and Garfunkel. And that wasn't to detriment, because I thought it was lovely. It's a nice guitar-led piece. And as Craig says, you've got a massive change at about the 7.5-minute mark with an absolutely rip-roaring guitar solo. And then at 8 minutes, I don't know if you can remember a children's program called Bertha, where there was this big machine that made things. Yeah, well, she's got a part at the 8-minute mark, because you've got all these blips and blops kind of going on in the background. It sounds like
that's that funky riff that I was talking about, with that going over the top.
It sounds like some sort of mad scientist laboratory and going on in the background. But anyway, absolutely bonkers. Bass work and keyboard solo kind of battle thing going on. And then again, the rest of the band join in. Absolutely brilliant. Part 4, Submerged. It's got a massive slowdown in tempo compared to the previous track. Wonderful strings and piano work. And then again, boom, we're off again. Now, I've read a little bit, and it's probably just come from Wikipedia about what this track's about, which I'm sure you'll go into a little bit. But what I will throw in here,
Only got my
is that-
take on it, but go on.
yeah, I've got a funny feeling that there's a leaning towards this could be about Kevin Gilbert. And it was only
I
the
think
bit
it's
where
a
he
similar,
says,
it's a similar sort of subject to Shaming of the True.
right, which I've never heard.
You have?
I haven't.
Have you not? Oh.
No.
It's about the struggles of a musician.
Yeah, that's what I was getting
Yeah,
from it.
yeah.
It was the line that said, "I worked with him closely. It must have been 10 years ago." And I
Yeah.
thought, because isn't one of the guys on the Shaming
Nick
album?
DiVirgilio, the drummer,
Right,
was
yeah.
part of Kevin's band. I mean, they're all, we haven't really touched upon it, but this album was made at Lawnmower and Gardening Supplies recording studio, which is Rich Mauser's studio, and Rich recorded Kevin's stuff, so they're all from the same sort of musical orbit.
And Nick finished Shaming of the True.
Yeah, Shaming of the True
yes,
wasn't
yes.
finished when Kevin died, and Nick kind of put the band back together and finished it off.
Got you.
Sorry, I interrupted.
No, absolutely fine. No, it's good to know. So part 5, Missed Your Calling. I think that's the best bit of the entire track for me. It could have worked as its own standalone piece in my book. I think it's got McCartney, Billy Joel, Supertramp kind of weird mix thing going on. Absolutely brilliant. It's again absolutely sublime guitar work. There's a drumming instrumental break, which is absolutely brilliant. And then you've got this really quiet outro before you get into part 6, which is The Great Nothing. And that kind of harkens back to part 2, which was one note, lyrically anyway.
Yeah.
And again, all of the band members are just given a chance to breathe. They're all giving it 100%. And the vocal delivery at the end, very anthemic, I would say. But like the last few minutes, the guitar work is absolutely mind-blown. It's atmospheric. It's to say this was recorded 26 years ago it's just it doesn't sound 26-year-old to me at all.
No.
I mean, I agree that you can definitely tell the sections of this song more than what you can see in the first track of the album. But that doesn't mean to say that any of the transitions are rubbish, because they're not. It still flows beautifully. Yeah. And like I say, better part of 30 minutes just flies by for me, more so than what it did for the first track. I think this is brilliant. I think it's absolutely epic, top-notch stuff.
Cool. Great.
Sorry to ramble on.
No. It's great. It's great. It's a long track, and you've really sort of delved into it. Great.
So I could have seen this because this was a Neil composition, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So I could have seen this on the previous year's Sympty as a transatlantic track.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It sounds like oh god, what there's a 4-part song on his first solo album. I'm just reaching around. Just keep talking.
Yeah, I love it. I think the thing that Mikie brought out about everybody gets to introduce themselves, that part where you've got the sort of the sample keyboard Gregorian chant, angry monk, whatever you want to call it, at the start, that then goes into the acoustic. I love the fact that the next bit, the heavy riff, is the electric guitar and I'm assuming a cello playing in harmony, but it's actually the same notes as the acoustic riff, but it just takes it that step further. And then you've got the bit, and then you've got the drumming comes in, and you've got the bass. I mean, everybody gets a chance to shine on this album. The sections are amazing. There was a bit. Oh, what was it? Hang on, excuse me a second. It was about 9 minutes in. It was about 9 minutes in where there's an absolute wig out musically, and it's like it takes us back to that jazz influence stuff.
Yeah.
The hero for me on this track is Rio. It really is. But again, there's bits where I really hear the John Lord hard rock stuff, but also there's kind of, it's not quite the Procol Harum stuff, but there's that 60s psychedelic type feel with jazz. It's just the keyboards ebb and flow between all the different styles of music throughout the thing, and I don't think of it. I mean, you've said it's like 6 songs bolted together. It's like movements for me. There are distinct elements to the song.
I mean, the track. Sorry to get back to you, but the track from Neil Morse's album is called A Whole Nother Trip, and that is 4 songs put together. It's 24 minutes.
Yeah,
it's very similar, and that was released in the year before this in 1999.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can see where he was going, and I love. For me, it's not just a musical journey, as Mikie said. It's the lyrical story about it.
Yeah,
the sort of the failed musician. It's the struggles of somebody who knows that they're good, but they're not quite good enough. They've not got what is it? The boy's got potential, but he's never had commercial success. There's flies in his ointment. There's stuyvescence and liquor on his breath.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Is the way they write the story without making it feel burdensome? It doesn't feel as if they're trying to squeeze anything in or force the words in or what have you. But I also quite often find I get to the end of this and think, have I missed a section somewhere? Because it just doesn't feel like it's 27 minutes long.
It doesn't. It
No,
doesn't.
not
And, and reviewing it, trying to make notes, you're right. It doesn't feel like that. I mean, I've written some of the track times down so that I knew where I was with the lyrics, because it's always indexed on the CD as one track.
Yeah,
which doesn't help anything, but
which is annoying because they do call out the individual elements to this. They do call out the sort of
they do in the lyrics.
6/6.
Yeah.
But it's brilliant, and it is. So the top and tail of this album. I said to you earlier on today, it's reminded me of what I loved about prog, and I have been on a complete prog bend. I'm going to say something here that might alienate some people. It reminded me of what Marillion don't do anymore, to my mind, because I fell in love with that sort of neoclassical, neo-progressive, and it was what they called neo-progressive Marillion. Nothing to do with the singer, nothing to do with it. It was the style of the music and the way it was done. And slowly they've moved away, and it's not a bad thing. They just play a different music, which I still love. But it's very different to this kind of really technical, really wig out, really,
I mean, Spocks are different to this now. Spocks have changed,
They are.
They're still great, but they're different.
But I've gone back and I've like I said, I was listening to it. Was like I did IQ, Pendragon, Magenta, all the stuff that I've been listening to for 30 years, but haven't really listened to for the last 5 or 6. And I didn't realize it was that long, but it's because there's so much other stuff. There's new albums come out all the time, and everybody's moved on. And I think it was this, and also I read an article about Kansas, and I went back and listened to some of the Kansas material. Obviously, the vocal harmonies, and you get the religious vibes from that as well. And I cannot believe how much I have enjoyed this album, and particularly these 2 long form tracks. And yet 20 years ago, the long form tracks were just becoming passé to me. I was like, oh God, I'm sick of this. Just play me a song. And yet I'm right back there.
Okay. Wow. Well, it's great that you feel like that way about it. You haven't really left me much to say, and it's me that picked the bloody album. I think that this isn't quite as strong as At the End of the Day for me. It isn't as exciting as At the End of the Day, but there are some great sections within this. I mean, we've kind of touched upon him throughout the album, but there's lots of places in this track where Dave Merris's walking bass is driving things along. Dave and Nick are just at the back of it, driving this thing along. And you know, that funky break around about the 8-minute mark in Come Up Breathing that we talked about, it's strange. It's a strange off-kilter rhythm, but it doesn't sound out of place. To me, it doesn't sound like Mikie described it with all these bleeps and stuff. It's just this quirky little interlude before we get back into the song.
But he's right in it from the start as well. When the bass kicks in from nowhere,
Yeah, it's
it's
that
huge.
big dirty
It's
groove at the
huge,
beginning.
big
isn't it?
dirty bass.
Yeah. It's fantastic. The sound he gets, it's very Squire-like, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
that big rasping, and also they've got it mixed up in. It's up in the mix.
It is up in the mix. Yeah,
so you can hear what's going on. You know, for me, that's probably what drew me to Spock's is the harmonies and the Squire-like bass. But then Neil's melodies, he writes incredible melodies for me. There are some on the new Neil Morse Band. I mean, he's not subtle. There's a track on the new Neil Morse Band album, Lift, called Hurt People, which is rocking. It's absolutely amazing. And then there's another track called Shame About My Shame, which is a religious track, but it's really, really uplifting. It can still do that to me, but I think this is a great record. It's probably the most accessible point for Spock's. I wouldn't advise anybody came in on Snow.
no, definitely not.
And I think Day for Night before this is, I don't know, a little bit left field, I think, although the Healing Colours of Sound is really good and quite accessible because there's, again, the things that Craig hates, different sections coming up one after the other. But I mean, we've had some comments on the Facebook group when we posted that we were going to talk about this album. One person in particular said that they'd been meaning to sort of delve into Spock's Beard. So I would certainly suggest that this is the album to start with.
That's Paul Gulliver.
Look at that, he's doing his own work. Do you want to touch upon these things now?
Yeah, we can.
We only posted it today, so we've only got a few comments. But do you want to do Rick Kessler's comment?
It'll take his ages to read out Rick
No,
Kessler's comment.
It won't.
Morse sigh.
And do you want to put my reply?
Rick, you must try harder.
He must, yes.
Yes, he must.
Yeah. Love you, Rick, but yeah. Neil Morse, you've got to do it, mate.
Yeah, Lee Abraham, he says, love the band since 1999. One of the gigs of my life was theirs in London of summer in 2001. The band members all remember it too. Just a stunning night. And a certain Mezza replied, says, the Astoria gig, it was an amazing night. At the time, I couldn't believe how they played the small room downstairs just the year before. And John's wearing the T-shirt.
And I'm wearing the T-shirt from the big Astoria. Well, I've got the other one as well. But yes, it was an absolutely amazing night. And it was a bit like, being in that audience was a bit like being in the Marillion audience on the Farewell to 84 tour, where they played the first side of This Place. You just felt the band were about to go stellar, and that's exactly how it felt with Spock's Beard.
How much of the album did they play?
Well, I saw the first leg of the tour, they played downstairs. So the LA2 was a small room underneath the Astoria, and they played at the end of the day and The Great Nothing, and that's all they played on that tour. But when they came back and did the big room, they did at the end of the day, All on a Sunday, Thoughts Part 2, and The Great Nothing. So, you know, a fair chunk, but not all of it.
So, right, Stephen Wicks, we'll carry on with the bits. Yay, you're reviewing an album I like and not Hot Space or some such. Possibly the peak Spock's Beard album with Morse. Not at all happy clappy, if I'm allowed to say that, which is a relief. Not a bad song on the album, and one I go back to frequently. Looking forward to hearing your take on it, guys. Well, you just have.
Yeah. David Edwards says, I love V, probably my favourite Spock's Beard album until Snow. Two excellent epics.
Chris Wright, yes, I did enjoy that one. Some big nods musically to Gentle Giant on the album, which I liked.
Darren Newitt says, this is a really great album, sandwiched by two epic prog songs, At the End of the Day and The Great Nothing, which are just all awesome. Goodbye to Yesterday, I find a bit of a slow album filler, but I get why they put this in front of the epic finale as a musical palate cleanser for what was to come. Right from Day to Night, I've followed this band. Some of the post-Morse era is a bit hit and miss, but there are some crackers. I don't agree with that. Hard to decide if V is better than Snow, but if you want a more concise musical punch, this is it. I do agree with that, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I kind of struggle. Sorry, on you go.
I was going to say, finally, Hamish McKenzie, he says their best album for my money has a bit of everything that made their original era with Neil so good, and a certain Grae, yeah, just chipped in with even the kitchen sink.
Yes.
So yeah, Grae, what you were going to say then?
So I love Snow. I think Snow's a fantastic double album, or triple vinyl now, isn't it? Yeah, triple vinyl now, isn't it? Yeah. But I think this pips it to me for the Morse era. This is the best, probably because it is that accessible stuff. It's got everything I like about it. I think it's my favorite. This is my favorite of the original Neo Morse era stuff. It's funny. I think for me it's 5 and 10. I think V and X are the very high points for me.
I would have to have a think about what my favourite from the Nick era is. I do like.
But I like Octane as well.
Yeah, Octane's good. I mean, I quite like Feel Euphoria, the first one, because I saw him on the tour. But the self-titled, the Spock's Beard album with On a Perfect Day, I think is great.
That's really good.
Yeah,
really
good. And then the As Far as the Man Can See on towards the end, the four or five part, four-parter.
Four-part, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's lots to love about Spock's, and then into the Ted era, Brief Nocturnes and Dreamless Sleep is a brilliant record. It really is. None of these are going to be suitable for Craig. Let's just say that now.
No, this is probably the most suitable for Craig.
Yeah.
I'll exit the stage.
As I said to the guys, there was a making of VHS that was released at the time, which was after that was re-released on DVD in a twin pack with Don't Try This at Home, Spock's Beard Live in Holland. I don't know if that's still available, but it's got some bonuses on. It's got All on a Sunday music video and some live tracks as well, bonus live stuff. It's quite interesting to watch if you like the album, but the Don't Try This at Home is fantastic. The album itself, as Wikipedia said, came out as a limited edition digipack originally with a 32-page booklet. It's been re-released a couple of times. Metal Blade and Radiant re-released a special edition which has got a demo of At the End of the Day on the end of it, which is 15 minutes long. And we haven't really talked about it, but All on a Sunday was released as a single in 2001 and has a special single mix and a bonus track called The Truth, which you got to play, didn't you, Mikey?
I did. It's quite commercial as well. I was surprised because I thought as the B-side to that single, I thought they would throw something a bit more proggy on there, but it's quite an accessible track. It's nice. Yeah. It's worth a listen.
Yeah, surprised
it's available on YouTube if you want to have a listen. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool. Has the album been out on vinyl? Is it? It
has. I don't have it on vinyl. It has been out on vinyl.
So you need something to
I only have one Spock's Beard on vinyl. So folks, I've let you down there. But I've got all the CDs. There are loads of CDs.
Can I ask? Is the vinyl that you've got signed?
You know the answer to this. We've had that conversation. The only vinyl I've got is Snow, And I bought it in February this year at Morsefest in London, and the only option was to get it signed because he wasn't selling it without signing it. Because Neil knows how to get your money out of you.
Oh, I have to admit, I'm tempted. I didn't realize it was already available. I knew it was meant to be done by March, but I hadn't clocked it was available. I'm sorely tempted to get that, but I love this though. I think the two huge songs with what's in between is enough of a balance for me to make it a really enjoyable listen, no matter what mood I'm in, whether I want something really heavy and proggy or I want something kind of more palatable.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me a little bit of, I mean, it's not the same, but the setup that Marillion used for, was it Strange Engine, where you've got, like, obviously two quite big tracks and then a lot of songs in the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's pulls apart. But if you just want to dive in and listen to, 4, 5, 6 minute songs, they are there. If you want to listen to prog epics, they are there. I could quite happily listen to that last track on its own, away from the rest of the album, as much as I could quite happily play those songs in the middle. I mean, Revelation to me, I think, is absolutely out of this world amazing. Yet, on paper, I shouldn't like it.
You're a bit of a closet prog fiend, actually, aren't you?
I have said this on this podcast more than once. I just like good music, and I know good music when I hear it.
I'm just researching the vinyls that have been out. It was released on vinyl in 2014. There was a limited edition orange. It's a double vinyl, but it's on 3 sides with an etched 4th side.
We don't mind etched sides.
No, and then there was a black vinyl version as well. I don't think it's currently available.
Don't make me do a Lunatic Soul.
No, don't do that. I think you're safe, Mikey, on this one, aren't you?
And on that bombshell.
Yes. So that's what we think of V or 5 by Spock's Beard. What do you think about it? If you've not listened, have a listen and join the discussion on our Facebook group, which is Planet Music, the album podcast. We would love to see you there. If you've enjoyed this and you want to get new episodes straight to your phone or your computer, please like and subscribe, and they will be delivered to you every 2 weeks.
On a Thursday.
Hopefully on a Thursday, unless something goes wrong. But all that remains to be said is thank you to Mikey K.
Thanks very much. And thanks again, John. Another top-notch choice.
Thank you, mate. Thank you to Graham Teddy.
Yeah, thanks for bringing us back to prog. It's great.
That's all right, mate. And thank you, Craig Houston.
Why, thank you, youngster.
It's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Take care.
Go on, Graham, your turn.
And stay alive.
Yay!
Thanks for listening
to Planet Music from the makers of Planet Marzipan.
If you like what you've heard, please like and subscribe, and maybe even join our Facebook discussion group.
You can contact us at planetmarzipanpodcast@gmail.com.